Sisters and daughters of the sun, let me begin with a truth that has always lived in our bones, though the world tried to make us forget. You are not here to be forever busy. You are not born only to pour yourself out until nothing remains. You are not called to be a machine of giving without a pause. You are a living, breathing miracle, and your rest is holy. Your stillness is a song of freedom. Your quiet is a declaration that your soul cannot be owned. There is power in the pause. There is wisdom in the silence. There is healing in the simple act of closing your eyes and saying to the world, not now, not today. For too long, women have been told to run faster, to work harder, to serve louder, to bear more weight than any human heart should carry. But when you decide to lay down that burden and breathe, when you choose to care for your spirit as much as you care for everyone else, you are doing more than relaxing. You are reclaiming your life. You are rewriting the story that others wrote in your name. The world does not always clap for a woman who rests. They may call her lazy. They may call her selfish. But let me tell you what she truly is. She is a woman who has remembered her worth. She is a woman who knows that her body is not a battlefield, that her time is not a bargain, and that her dreams are not waiting for permission to bloom. When you rest, you declare that your being has value even when you are not producing, even when you are not giving, even when you are not pleasing. That is a radical act of courage. Choosing rest is choosing yourself, and that is an act of power. It may sound simple, but for women it has never been simple. From the time you are young, you are told that your worth comes from how much you do for others, how tirelessly you give, how many hours you work without complaint. The world has whispered in your ear that rest is a luxury, something you must earn after everything is finished, after everyone else is taken care of, after you have proven yourself worthy. But the truth is, this rest is not something you wait for permission to take. Rest is a declaration that you belong to yourself first. When you choose to rest, you are saying to the world, my body is mine, my soul is mine, my time is mine. That is not selfishness, that is sacred power. There is a quiet revolution in allowing yourself to pause without guilt. It is revolutionary to sit in stillness when the world shouts at you to keep moving. It is revolutionary to close your eyes when society tells you to keep watching over everything and everyone. It is revolutionary to breathe slowly when you are expected to run endlessly. In that moment of rest, you are not abandoning responsibility. You are teaching yourself that you are more than responsibility. You are teaching your daughters, your sisters, your friends that a woman is not only valuable when she is exhausted. Rest becomes a mirror. It reflects back the truth that you are human, not a machine. It reminds you that your body holds limits and that honoring those limits is not failure, but wisdom. And every time you honor that wisdom, you reclaim the parts of yourself that were forgotten in the rush of duty. You reclaim the laughter that was buried under worry, the creativity that was silenced under noise, the peace that was buried under pressure. Rest is where your true self comes back to meet you. The act of choosing rest is powerful because it challenges every lie that has been told about women and worth. They told you your value is in what you give away, but when you rest, you remind them your value has always been in who you are. They told you your beauty is in how much you can endure, but when you rest, you remind them your beauty is in how much you honor yourself. They told you that stopping is a sign of laziness, but when you rest, you remind them that stopping is sometimes the only way to keep living with strength. Think of the women who never allowed themselves to pause, who worked until their backs bent and their dreams faded. They gave everything and left little for themselves. Now think of the woman who pauses, who takes a deep breath, who steps away from the demands of the world to care for her own soul. She rises fuller, she rises clearer, she rises stronger. That is the difference rest makes. It is not wasted time. It is the gathering of strength, the building of courage, the restoration of dignity. When you choose rest, you are telling the world that you deserve peace. You are teaching those who watch you that a woman can be both nurturing and resting, both giving and preserving, both strong and still. You are planting the seeds of freedom for those who come after you, showing them that life is not meant to be a race, but a journey, one where rest is part of the path. So let your rest be your declaration. Let it be the moment where you remember who you are outside of expectations. Let it be your quiet protest against exhaustion, your silent song of freedom. And when you rise from your rest, rise with the strength of knowing you chose yourself, and that choice will always be powerful. Rest is not weakness, it is the soil where strength grows. Too often the world convinces women that to rest is to surrender, that stillness is a sign of frailty, that pausing makes you fall behind. But the truth is clearer than the morning light. Rest is not the absence of strength. It is the very ground where strength takes root. Without rest, even the mightiest tree withers. Without rest, even the strongest heart falters. The world may praise endless labor, but it is in the quiet hours of restoration that true power is born. When a woman rests, she is not escaping life, she is fueling her life. Her body begins to heal from the weight it carries. Her mind begins to untangle from the noise it endures. Her soul begins to glow again with the light of purpose. This glow cannot be faked. It cannot be borrowed. It can only come from giving yourself the sacred permission to pause. Just as the earth must have seasons of harvest and seasons of stillness, a woman too must allow herself to stop, to breathe, to renew. For without winter there is no spring, and without rest there is no rise. Strength is not measured in how much you can endure without breaking. Strength is found in knowing when to step back, when to nurture yourself, when to say enough. Rest allows you to return to the world not as a shadow of yourself, but as your whole self. It builds resilience, it sharpens clarity, it restores hope. What some call weakness is in truth a quiet rebuilding, a patient gathering of energy that will later become unstoppable force. Rest does not diminish what you are capable of, it multiplies it. Think of a river that flows without end. If it never slows, never deepens, never gathers, it will soon lose its power. But when the river rests in the wide bend, when it gathers its waters, it moves forward stronger, wider, more commanding. A woman is no different. The pause she allows herself is the pause that later gives her the power to carry, to lead, to love with abundance. There is no shame in stillness. There is no shame in slowing down. There is only wisdom in knowing that strength cannot thrive without rest. The world often admires the woman who never stops, who burns herself down to ashes in the name of duty. But true admiration should be given to the woman who knows her value enough to protect her energy. She is the one who will not crumble when storms come. She is the one who will stand steady because she has chosen to nurture her strength in the quiet moments. Her rest has made her unshakable. Her rest has made her whole. Rest is the soil where dreams regain their color, where creativity is born again, where vision returns. Without rest, life becomes a blur of demands and duties. But with rest, life regains its rhythm, its beauty, its meaning. It is in the pause that you remember who you are. It is in the stillness that your heart speaks loudest. It is in the quiet that your true strength begins to rise like the sun after the longest night. So let no one tell you that rest makes you less. Let no one shame you into believing that your worth is tied to endless motion. Stand in the truth that your rest is not weakness but wisdom, not surrender but strategy, not emptiness but renewal. When you choose to rest, you choose to let your strength grow deeper roots. And when those roots are strong, nothing can shake the woman you are becoming. When a woman claims her time, she teaches the world her worth. For centuries, the hours of a woman's life have been seen as belonging to everyone but her. Her time was given to the family, to the children, to the work, to the endless demands that filled her days and her nights. She was expected to be available, to bend, to answer, to carry, to give, often without anyone asking what it cost her. And yet, when a woman dares to say, "This hour belongs to me," she begins to shift the very foundation of what the world believes about her value. She is no longer seen only as a servant of others' needs. She becomes the author of her own life. Claiming time is not easy. The world does not hand it to you. It resists. It frowns. It accuses you of being selfish. But selfishness is not the same as self-preservation. To choose yourself is not to abandon others. It is to show them that you are not invisible. Every time a woman claims even a small piece of her time, she is declaring that she is worthy of care, worthy of attention, worthy of the same respect she so freely gives to others. That declaration is powerful because it disrupts the lie that her only worth lies in sacrifice. Time is life. What you give your time to, you give your life to. And when a woman gives all her time away without keeping any for herself, she silently tells the world that her life belongs to everyone else. But when she claims her time, when she guards her hours as treasures, she teaches the world that her life belongs to her. She teaches her children that their mother is more than the task she performs. She teaches her community that her presence is not endless, that her energy has value. She teaches herself that her dreams deserve space to breathe. Claiming time is also claiming boundaries. It is the act of saying no without guilt. It is turning off the noise so you can hear your own thoughts. It is sitting with your book, your prayer, your rest, your joy, without needing to justify it. It is telling the world that you will not be defined only by what you provide, but also by what you preserve within yourself. Boundaries are not walls of separation, and they are gardens of protection. And when a woman claims her time, she plants a garden where her peace can grow. The world notices when a woman does this. At first it may resist, at first it may try to shame her, but slowly the world learns. It begins to see her not as someone who must always be taken from, but as someone whose value demands respect. Others begin to adjust, to wait, to honor the fact that her time is not theirs to own. And when one woman does this, she gives courage to others. Her daughters watch her and learn. Her sisters watch her and follow. Her friends watch her and dare to claim their own time. One act becomes a ripple, and the ripple becomes a tide. There is beauty in the woman who takes time for herself. Her steps are steadier, her laughter is deeper, her spirit is brighter. She does not live as a shadow of duty, but as a full being with light of her own. Her time is not stolen, her time is not wasted, her time is sacred. She teaches the world that she is not here only to serve, but also to live, to dream, to rest, to rise. So let your time be yours. Let it be guarded as a jewel. Let it be spent on your peace, your rest, your joy, your healing. And when you claim it, do not apologize. For in that bold act, you are teaching the world a lesson it must never forget. Your worth is immeasurable, and your time is proof of it. Silence and stillness are not empty. They are full of healing. In a world that constantly urges you to move faster, speak louder, and give more, silence often feels unnatural, as if you are doing something wrong by pausing. Yet it is in those quiet moments, in the spaces between the noise, that a woman truly finds herself again. Stillness is not an absence, it is a presence. It is the presence of peace returning to your body, of clarity returning to your mind, of strength returning to your spirit. What looks like nothing from the outside is everything on the inside. The world has taught women that they must always be busy to be valuable. If their hands are not working, their hearts are worrying. If their bodies are not moving, their minds are racing. But silence and stillness remind us that our worth was never tied to motion. Silence says you are enough even when you are not speaking. Stillness whispers, you are whole even when you are not doing. To sit quietly is not to be idle. It is to be in deep conversation with your soul. Healing happens in those quiet spaces. When you allow silence, the wounds of your heart begin to close. When you allow stillness, the weariness of your body begins to lift. The noise of the world often drowns out the voice inside you, the voice that knows what you need, what you long for, what you must release. But in stillness, that voice rises again. It becomes a guide, a teacher, a healer. It reminds you of your own strength, your own beauty, your own sacredness. Do not mistake quiet for weakness. Do not mistake stillness for surrender. It takes courage to step away from the endless demands and simply breathe. It takes strength to say, I will not be rushed today. I will not be drowned in noise. I will rest in my silence and allow it to restore me. This is not laziness, it is wisdom. This is not weakness, it is power. For when a woman learns to embrace silence, she no longer needs the approval of the world to know her worth. Silence and stillness are also forms of resistance. They are a refusal to be consumed by the noise of expectations. They are a declaration that you will not be defined by endless doing. In a culture that glorifies exhaustion, your stillness is a protest. In a society that demands constant noise, your silence is revolutionary. You are not withdrawing from life. When you rest in silence, you are stepping into a deeper, truer way of living. Imagine a calm lake at dawn, its surface smooth and untouched. Beneath it, life stirs quietly. Fish swim, plants sway, the ecosystem thrives. It looks like stillness, but it is filled with life. That is what silence is for a woman's soul. On the outside, it may appear as nothing, but within, it is full of renewal, full of energy being restored, full of healing unfolding gently. Stillness allows your roots to sink deeper, so that when life demands, you can rise taller, stand stronger, shine brighter. Every woman deserves that space of quiet, that sacred stillness where she meets herself without masks, without noise, without demands. It is in that space that her true power grows, not the power of constant struggle, but the power of calm resilience, the power of steady grace. And when she returns from that stillness, the world feels her strength even if they cannot name where it came from. So my sisters, do not run from silence. Do not fear stillness. They are not empty places. They are sacred grounds of healing, of wholeness, of strength. Step into them with courage and let them remind you of the fullness that has always lived within you. Rest is resistance against a world that demands endless labor. From the moment a woman opens her eyes, the world hands her a list of duties. She is expected to give without pause, to serve without limit, to stretch herself thin until she becomes invisible. Every corner of society has trained women to believe that their value is measured in how much they can endure without complaint. But when a woman decides to rest, when she chooses to step back from the noise and the endless demands, she is not simply pausing, she is resisting. She is refusing to let a system that thrives on her exhaustion define her worth. There is a power in saying no to the constant pulling of the world. Rest is not merely about sleep or sitting still. It is about reclaiming the dignity of your own existence. It is a way of pushing back against a culture that wants to use every part of you until nothing remains. The world benefits from a woman who never stops, but that does not mean the woman benefits. That is why rest becomes an act of rebellion. It says, I am not a machine. I am not a servant of endless demands. I am a human being with limits, with needs, with sacred worth. Resistance does not always have to be loud. Sometimes resistance is quiet. Sometimes it is lying down in the middle of the day because your body calls for it. Sometimes it is walking away from a room full of expectations so you can hear your own heart beat. Sometimes it is putting the phone aside, turning off the noise, and sitting in silence. In those moments, you are standing up to a world that insists you must always be available, always producing, always giving. You are saying instead, I choose me. I choose peace. I choose rest. The truth is that exhaustion has been praised far too long. People admire the woman who carries the heaviest load, who never asks for help, who works until her spirit is empty. But admiration is not freedom. To be admired for your suffering is not the same as being valued for your humanity. A rested woman may not always fit into the expectations of others, but she carries something more precious, her wholeness. She cannot be controlled by guilt or driven by endless obligation because she has tasted the freedom that rest brings. When a woman rests, she disrupts cycles. She breaks the idea that her only purpose is to give until there is nothing left. She teaches her daughters that self-sacrifice is not the only form of love. She teaches her sons that women are not defined by their labor. She teaches the world that her spirit is not for sale, her time is not disposable, and her body is not a tool for endless use. That lesson is powerful. It changes households, it changes generations. Rest is resistance because it demands respect. It demands that the world see you not only for what you can do, but for who you are. It is a reminder that worth is not measured in output. Rest gives you the clarity to choose what truly matters, the strength to stand against what drains you, and the courage to walk a path that honors your soul. It creates space for joy, for creativity, for dreams that are too easily silenced when you are endlessly exhausted. So when you rest, you are not giving up. You are rising up. You are refusing to be consumed. You are pushing back against a world that benefits from your weariness. And in that resistance, you discover freedom. In that pause, you reclaim your power. And when you return stronger, clearer, and more alive than before. Rest is not surrender. Rest is victory. A voice that cannot be silenced. When the body is weary and the spirit is drained, the voice weakens. It trembles, it doubts itself, it whispers instead of thundering. The world has long benefited from women who are too tired to speak up, too exhausted to question, too drained to demand change. But when a woman chooses rest, when she allows her soul to breathe and her body to heal, her voice returns in full power. It does not come back as a whisper. It comes back as a song, as a declaration, as a truth that cannot be ignored. There is something undeniable about the voice of a rested woman. It carries not only sound, but weight. It carries the strength of self-respect, the calm of clarity, the courage of knowing her worth. Rest does not just restore the body. It restores conviction. It reminds a woman of what she believes, what she stands for, what she refuses to accept any longer. That is why the world so often resists women resting. Because a woman who is exhausted is easier to silence, but a woman who is rested is unstoppable. Rest gives you space to listen before you speak. It allows your thoughts to gather instead of scatter. It allows your emotions to settle instead of overflow. Out of that stillness, your words take shape with intention. They are not rushed, not reactionary, but steady, grounded, and filled with truth. A rested woman does not shout to be heard. She speaks with such strength and clarity that silence falls around her because people feel the weight of what she carries. Think of the voices that shaped history, the women who stood when the world told them to sit, who spoke when the world told them to stay quiet. They carried voices that had been nourished in moments of reflection, voices that found power in stillness before rising in thunder. That is the gift of rest. It allows you to prepare your voice, to gather your truth, to rise with words that carry the weight of freedom. A weary woman may continue to serve, may continue to give, but her voice struggles to break through the noise. And that is what the world expects, that women will remain too tired to claim their truth. But when a woman rests, she interrupts that cycle. She teaches the world that her words are not optional, that her truth cannot be brushed aside. She becomes a force that demands to be heard not through volume, but through presence, not through noise, but through authority. Rest is what gives her the courage to say no without guilt. Rest is what gives her the clarity to speak yes with joy. Rest is what makes her words resonate because they come not from desperation, but from a deep well of strength. When she speaks not only for herself, but for every woman who has been silenced, overlooked, or dismissed. Her rested voice carries their stories too, and that makes it even more unshakable. The voice of a rested woman has the power to shape households, to heal communities, to challenge systems, to inspire generations. It does not need permission. It does not beg for validation. It simply rises because it is full, it is nourished, it is alive. And the world listens differently when a woman speaks from a place of rest, because her words are not only spoken, they are lived. They carry the power of someone who has reclaimed her peace, her time, her dignity. So let your rest feed your voice. Let it give you back the strength to speak your truth without fear, without apology. And when you do, remember this: a rested woman does not just speak, she echoes. Her words linger, they move, they change. A rested woman carries a voice that cannot and will not be silenced. Reclaiming rest is reclaiming freedom, dignity, and joy. For too long, women have been taught that their value lies in how much they can give away, how endlessly they can stretch themselves, how silently they can endure. The cycle of exhaustion has been passed down through generations, as though it were a badge of honor, as though to be worn out is the only way to prove love and worth. But when a woman chooses rest, she breaks that cycle. She reaches back into her own life and gathers what was stolen from her, the freedom to be, the dignity to exist without apology, and the joy to live fully. Freedom begins in the pause. When you reclaim your rest, you reclaim the ability to choose your own rhythm instead of being ruled by the endless demands of others. You are no longer chained to the idea that your every moment must be productive or pleasing. Freedom comes when you can close your eyes without guilt, when you can say no without shame, when you can step away without fear of being forgotten. Rest is freedom because it loosens the grip of a world that would rather see you running until you fall. In stillness, you declare that your time is your own and that your life belongs first to you. Dignity lives in the act of honoring yourself. A woman who denies herself rest is often praised for her sacrifice, yet inside she feels unseen, overlooked, and worn thin. But when she claims her right to rest, she restores her dignity. She reminds herself and the world that she is not a machine built only for service. She is a human being who deserves care. Rest lifts her chin, straightens her back, and whispers, "You are worthy even when you are not doing. You are valuable even when you are not giving. You are enough as you are." That recognition of worth is dignity in its truest form, and from that dignity comes joy. Joy that is no longer buried under exhaustion. Joy that is not postponed until everything is done, because everything will never be done. Joy that rises in the quiet moments when you finally breathe and remember who you are beyond all the roles you carry. Rest makes space for laughter to return, for creativity to spark, for beauty to be noticed again. Joy blooms in the soil of rest, because only when you are still enough can you feel the sweetness of life as it unfolds around you. Reclaiming rest is not a small decision, it is a radical act of love toward yourself. It is standing in a world that worships business and choosing peace instead. It is refusing to let exhaustion steal your light. It is saying, "I will not trade my freedom, my dignity, my joy for a version of myself that is empty." And when a woman does this, she does not only reclaim her own life, she opens the door for others. She gives her sisters permission to pause. She teaches her daughters to honor themselves. She shows her community that a woman's wholeness is not negotiable. The beauty of rest is that it does not take away from what you give, it multiplies it. A rested woman brings more love, more wisdom, more presence than a weary one ever could. Her freedom radiates. Her dignity inspires, her joy heals. She becomes living proof that rest is not indulgence, it is necessity. It is not selfish, it is strength. It is not waste, it is restoration. So, when you reclaim your rest and know that you are gathering more than hours of sleep or moments of silence, you are gathering your freedom back into your hands. You are gathering your dignity back into your heart. You are gathering your joy back into your spirit. And in doing so, you are not only surviving, you are rising, you are glowing, you are fully alive. Reclaiming rest is reclaiming yourself. My dear sisters, if there is one truth I pray you carry with you, it is this: your rest is not a weakness, it is your revolution. It is the place where your strength gathers, where your voice rises, where your freedom breathes, where your dignity is honored, and where your joy is reborn. Do not be afraid to claim the hours that belong to you. Do not let the noise of the world convince you that rest makes you less. It makes you more alive, more present, more powerful, more whole. So as you walk forward from this moment, give yourself the grace to pause, the courage to breathe, and the boldness to say, "My rest matters, because I matter." May your silence bring you wisdom, may your stillness bring you healing, and may your rest bring you the life you deserve. Good luck on your journey of reclaiming time for yourself, and thank you for allowing me to share these words with you today. As we close, remember this: rest is not a luxury, it is a declaration. It is the quiet power that reminds the world you are whole, your voice matters, your time is sacred, and your life is yours to live fully. By choosing to rest, you reclaim your strength, your dignity, and your joy, and you show others that honoring yourself is the most courageous act of all. Step forward with courage, take back your time, and let your rest be the revolutionary force that lights your path. Good luck on this journey of self-discovery and renewal, and thank you for opening your hearts and minds to these words today. Dear friends, listen closely, my dear friends, for there is a song inside you that has been waiting to be heard. A song that refuses to be silenced by the shadows of yesterday. Too often we wander through life carrying the weight of our past, letting it write the lines of our story, letting it define the measure of our hearts. But I am here to tell you this truth: the past is not a cage. It is a classroom. It is not a sentence. It is a lesson. And you, yes, you are the author who holds the pen. There will be days when the memories of pain, of mistakes, of missed chances will come knocking at your door. They will demand your attention as if they alone hold the power to define you. But you do not have to answer their call. You do not have to let them sit at the table where your future is being served. You are more than the echoes of what has been done to you or what you have done to yourself. You are more than the bruises, more than the failures, more than the nights that felt too long and too cold. You are a story still unfolding. I want you to look into the mirror of your soul and speak aloud these words: I am not my past. I am not the hurt I have endured. I am not the shame that once shadowed my steps. I am a being of endless possibilities. I am a seed that has weathered storms and still rises toward the sun. I am the hope that refuses to be extinguished, and my story is not written by yesterday, but by the courage I choose today. Your past is often a loud voice in your mind, speaking with authority, telling you who you are, who you have been, and what you can become. It can seem relentless, as if the mistakes, the losses, the moments of weakness have carved permanent lines across your soul. But let me tell you something profound: your past does not define your worth or your future, not even for a moment. It may have shaped experiences, taught lessons, and offered memories both bitter and sweet, yet it does not hold the power to imprison your spirit. The truth is that you are far greater than the sum of the chapters that have already been written. You are the possibility of the chapters yet to come, the promise of transformation, and the courage that refuses to be diminished by yesterday. Often we carry the weight of past failures like stones in our pockets, forgetting that each stone can be used to build rather than to burden. Every wrong choice, every regret, every misstep has a lesson embedded within it. And if we choose to see it that way, our past becomes a teacher rather than a jailer. We can honor what has happened without letting it dictate the boundaries of who we are allowed to be. The scars we carry are not symbols of shame, but badges of survival. They mark the places where we endured, where we learned, where we grew stronger despite the pain. And in recognizing this, we begin to understand that our worth is intrinsic, not contingent on perfection or achievement, not measured by the missteps of our youth or the wounds of our history. There will be days when memories surface uninvited, trying to convince you that you are the sum of your failures. On those days, you must speak to yourself with clarity and compassion. You must remind yourself that every human being stumbles, that every person experiences loss and heartache. The difference lies not in avoiding mistakes, but in rising each time we fall, in choosing to move forward when the past insists we remain still. Our value is not found in flawless performance or unbroken strength. It is found in the courage to continue, in the willingness to show up for life again and again, in the quiet determination to embrace growth and change. To live as though your past defines you is to hand your power to moments that are long gone. To believe in your inherent worth is to reclaim your story, to acknowledge that the experiences that shaped you are not the sum total of who you are. They are pieces of a mosaic, fragments that contribute to your depth, your resilience, your capacity to love and to dream. Each day, you have the power to rewrite the narrative, to choose how your story unfolds. You can choose to see your history not as a chain, but as a foundation from which to rise. You can decide that what happened before will no longer hold dominion over who you are becoming. There is profound freedom in this realization. When you accept that your worth is independent of your past, you liberate yourself from self-judgment, from the relentless comparisons to what might have been, and from the shadows of regret that seek to dim your light. You begin to see that your life is not a punishment for errors made, but a canvas for courage, creativity, and compassion, you begin to understand that every step forward, no matter how small, is an act of self-affirmation, a declaration that you will not be defined by what you have endured, but by how you rise, how you love, how you choose to live in the present and shape the future. And so, you must embrace yourself with gentleness, speak to yourself with encouragement, and trust that the journey ahead holds infinite possibilities. Let the past inform you, not limit you. Let it teach, not condemn. Let it remind you of lessons learned and resilience gained, but never let it whisper lies that diminish your worth. You are deserving of love, of joy, of fulfillment, and of the courage to step into your own power. You are not the echoes of yesterday. You are the promise of today and the hope of tomorrow. Your past is a chapter, not the book. Your worth has never been measured by what you once were, and your future is bright with the light of all that you can still become. Every sunrise brings with it a quiet, unspoken invitation to begin again. Each morning is a blank page stretching before you, a space unspoiled by yesterday's missteps, a moment in which you can choose to step forward with intention and courage. Too often we believe that the weight of the past binds us, that the mistakes we have made, the losses we have suffered, and the moments of fear or hesitation will follow us forever. Yet the truth is that every day is a chance to turn the page and begin anew. Life, in its infinite grace, gives us endless opportunities to rewrite the story we tell ourselves, to redefine our path, and to rise into the people we are meant to be. It is tempting to hold on to yesterday, to replay it in our minds, to measure ourselves against the standards we once failed to meet. But this is a dangerous illusion. The past exists to teach, not to trap. When we cling to it too tightly, we deny ourselves the freedom to move forward. We forget that the story is not finished, that the pen remains in our hands, and that the canvas of today is fresh, untainted, and waiting for the brushstrokes of our courage, creativity, and compassion. Every moment we live is an opportunity to choose differently, to act with kindness, to speak with honesty, and to step into the life we desire. Beginning anew does not mean forgetting the lessons that life has taught us. It does not mean denying our experiences or pretending that pain and loss never existed. On the contrary, it means honoring what has happened while refusing to let it dictate the trajectory of our lives. It means taking the wisdom we have gained, the strength we have cultivated, and the resilience we have built, and using it to create a future that is brighter, fuller, and truer to who we are. Every day offers the chance to release what no longer serves us, to let go of regret, and to embrace hope. Too many of us wait for a perfect moment, a miraculous shift, or a sign from the universe to give ourselves permission to start again. But the reality is that the power to begin anew has always been within us. Each breath we take is a declaration of life, each heartbeat a reminder that we are here, that we matter, and that we have the ability to change the course of our story. The beauty of beginning again is that it does not require grand gestures. It begins with small acts, a word of forgiveness spoken to ourselves, a decision to move past fear, a commitment to take one step forward despite uncertainty. These acts, though seemingly small, have the power to transform our lives, to lift the weight of the past, and to illuminate the path ahead. There is an undeniable courage in embracing the new. It takes bravery to release what we have clung to let go of familiar patterns, and to trust that life has more to offer than we have yet imagined. Yet, in this courage, we discover freedom. We discover that the story of who we are is not fixed. We discover that our potential is boundless when we allow ourselves to move forward without the chains of regret and self-judgment. Each day becomes a sacred opportunity, a chance to cultivate gratitude, to nurture our dreams, and to walk toward the life we long to live. Remember, the past is a shadow, and shadows cannot exist without light. Your present is that light, full of possibility, ready to transform your path. When you step into today with intention, when you embrace the opportunity to begin anew, you are claiming your power. You are declaring that you will not be defined by what has happened before, that your worth is not measured by yesterday's failures, and that the future is yours to shape with courage, love, and perseverance. So rise with the knowledge that every day is a gift, a fresh page, and a chance to begin again. Do not let yesterday's storms hold you back from today's sunshine. Trust in your resilience, honor your growth, and walk boldly into the promise of a new beginning. Every sunrise is a reminder that you are never too late, never too burdened, and never too small to step forward and rewrite the story. Your tomorrow is waiting, and it begins now. Mistakes are a part of the human experience, yet so often we carry them as if they are chains, as if a single misstep defines the whole of our being. We live under the illusion that perfection is the measure of worth, that to falter is to fail, and that to stumble is to be unworthy. But the truth is that mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. They are not verdicts handed down to condemn us, but opportunities to grow, to learn, and to understand the depth of our own resilience. Every mistake carries within it a seed of wisdom, and it is only when we choose to look at it with courage and honesty that we can begin to transform regret into strength. It is natural to feel shame when we falter, to replay the moment over and over in our minds, wishing we could change what was done. But shame is not a guide. It is a weight that keeps us trapped in the past. To recognize that mistakes are lessons is to lift that weight, to open our eyes to the possibility of growth. Each error, each lapse, each misjudgment is an invitation to reflect, to adjust, and to move forward with more awareness. Life does not ask for perfection, it asks for presence, for honesty, and for the courage to continue even when the road is difficult. Consider the moments in your own life where you stumbled, where you acted in fear, anger, or uncertainty. Recall the feelings of regret that followed. Now consider what those moments taught you. Perhaps you discovered patience, empathy, or the depth of your own resilience. Perhaps you learned to trust your intuition more deeply, to listen to the voice of your heart, or to value the strength it takes to admit a wrong. Mistakes, when seen through the lens of learning, become the building blocks of wisdom, not the chains of punishment. They remind us that growth is a journey, and that each step, whether forward or faltering, contributes to the unfolding of our story. There is beauty in the acknowledgement of our errors, in the humility that comes from understanding that we are not perfect, that we are human. To embrace mistakes as lessons is to embrace ourselves fully, without judgment, and to recognize that our worth is not determined by flawless performance, but by the courage we show in the face of imperfection. It is to understand that every fall is an opportunity to rise, every failure a doorway to insight, and every regret a guide toward deeper compassion for ourselves and for others. We often forget that even the greatest among us have stumbled, that every path of achievement and fulfillment is lined with missteps and moments of doubt. What separates those who rise from those who remain in despair is not the absence of mistakes, but the response to them. The choice to see a mistake as a lesson, to learn and move forward, transforms the narrative from one of defeat to one of resilience. Each lesson carries the potential to illuminate the path ahead, to shape character, and to cultivate a spirit that is unshaken by adversity. Mistakes also teach us empathy, for they remind us of our shared humanity. When we recognize our own flaws and failures, we are better able to understand the struggles of others, to offer compassion, and to extend grace where it is needed. Life becomes richer when we allow ourselves to learn from missteps rather than punish ourselves for them. The journey is not about avoiding errors, but about embracing the wisdom they offer, using each moment of difficulty to refine our hearts, our minds, and our souls. So do not fear mistakes. Do not allow a misstep to define your story. Instead, hold it gently, examine it, and carry forward the insight it offers. Mistakes are not life sentences. They are the teachers that guide us toward courage, understanding, and growth. They remind us that our story is not written in perfection, but in persistence, in learning, and in the willingness to rise again. Every error is a step toward mastery of self. Every stumble a chance to discover your strength. And every lesson learned a testament to your resilience. Remember always that mistakes shape you without shaming you. They are the light that shows the path to becoming your fullest, truest self. There is a quiet power that resides within each of us, a power often forgotten, overlooked, or overshadowed by doubt and fear. It is the power to choose to act and to shape the story of our own lives. You hold the pen to your own story, and that truth carries with it both responsibility and freedom. Too often we allow circumstances, other people, or the weight of past mistakes to write the narrative for us, as if our lives are chapters dictated by forces beyond our control. But the truth is that you are the author of your own journey. You alone determine how the plot unfolds, what lessons are carried forward, and what triumphs are celebrated. The pen is in your hand, and the ink belongs to your courage, your dreams, and your willingness to embrace the unknown. Life will present moments of uncertainty, times when the path ahead seems unclear or treacherous. In those moments, it is tempting to believe that others know better, that your story is already written, and that your role is to follow rather than to lead. Yet every great transformation begins with the recognition that you are not a passive character in the tale of your existence. You are the storyteller. You have the power to craft a narrative that honors your values, your desires, and the strength of your spirit. Holding the pen means choosing to step into your own authority, to trust your intuition, and to take responsibility for the direction of your life. To hold the pen is to claim ownership of both the light and the shadow within yourself. It is to recognize that mistakes, failures, and heartbreaks are not stains upon the page, but chapters that deepen the richness of your story. Every challenge you have faced, every obstacle overcome, every tear shed has contributed to the texture of your life. When you hold the pen, you can decide how these experiences are framed. Will they be a source of shame, or will they become the foundation of resilience? Will they define you as a victim, or will they reveal the hero who has persisted against all odds? The choice is yours, and with each choice, your story becomes more authentically your own. There is an extraordinary freedom in this awareness. When you understand that you are the author, you can stop seeking validation from the outside world. You can stop asking others to approve your decisions, to confirm your worth, or to determine your path. The pen is in your hand, and it writes the truth of your own heart. It allows you to explore the depths of who you are, to embrace your uniqueness, and to move forward with courage. This is not to say the journey will be easy. Writing your own story requires bravery, honesty, and persistence. Yet the rewards are profound. To hold the pen is to live with integrity, to align your actions with your deepest values, and to cultivate a life that resonates with your soul. There will be voices both internal and external, trying to sway your hand, to convince you that your story is already written or that your choices do not matter. But the power to write, to revise, and to redefine is never taken from you. Each day is a new page, each moment a new opportunity to create meaning, to make amends, to pursue joy, and to embrace growth. The narrative of your life is not fixed, and it is never too late to take the pen, to alter the course, and to move toward the story you wish to live. Holding the pen also means embracing responsibility. It requires acknowledging the consequences of your actions and learning from them without surrendering to regret. It asks for reflection, for clarity, and for a steadfast commitment to authenticity. You cannot control every event, every person, or every circumstance, but you can control your response, your choices, and the way you frame your experiences. Each decision becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, shaping the portrait of who you are and who you are becoming. So take hold of that pen with courage and conviction. Write boldly, even when the ink feels uncertain. Fill the pages with your dreams, your acts of kindness, your triumphs, and even your vulnerabilities. Do not allow fear, doubt, or the echoes of the past to hold sway over your narrative. You are the author, and your story is yours to shape, to honor, and to celebrate. Every chapter you create, every sentence you craft, and every word you speak is a testament to your power, your resilience, and your unyielding spirit. You hold the pen, and it is time to write the life you were always meant to live. There is a deep and transformative power in forgiveness, especially the forgiveness we offer to ourselves. Too often we carry the weight of guilt and regret, replaying moments we wish we could change. allowing shame to linger as if it were our constant companion. Yet letting go of shame and embracing self-forgiveness is not a weakness. It is an act of profound courage, a declaration that your worth is not tethered to your past mistakes. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge that you are human, that errors are part of the journey, and that the burden of regret does not have to define the rest of your life. Every moment we hold on to shame is a moment we spend chained to a story that no longer serves us, and it is only when we release it that we can step freely into the promise of what lies ahead. Shame has a quiet, insidious power. It whispers lies that convince us we are unworthy, that our failures make us less deserving of love, kindness, and joy. It tries to convince us that the past holds dominion over the present, that the mistakes we have made are permanent stains upon the canvas of our lives. But self-forgiveness is a radical act of rebellion against these lies. It is the choice to stand in your own light, to honor the lessons learned, and to embrace the person you are becoming rather than the person you once were. Forgiveness allows you to release the chains of regret and to move forward with clarity, courage, and compassion. To forgive yourself does not mean erasing the past or pretending that mistakes never happened. It means looking at those moments with honesty and understanding, recognizing the choices you made, and seeing the circumstances that shaped them. It is about learning from your missteps rather than being defined by them, about taking responsibility without letting self-condemnation take root. Each act of self-forgiveness is a step toward freedom, a step toward reclaiming the power that was always yours to begin with. When you let go of shame, you create space for growth, love, and possibility. Many people struggle to forgive themselves because they believe that doing so diminishes accountability or excuses the past. But true self-forgiveness is neither avoidance nor denial. It is the recognition that mistakes are inevitable and that our worth is not dependent upon perfection. It is an understanding that the human experience is filled with missteps, trials, and moments of doubt, and that these experiences do not disqualify us from living fully and beautifully. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge your humanity, to honor your journey, and to allow your spirit to breathe free of the suffocating weight of self-judgment. Embracing self-forgiveness also transforms the way we relate to others. When we forgive ourselves, we cultivate empathy, compassion, and understanding for those around us. We recognize that they too are navigating the complexities of life, carrying their own burdens and learning from their own mistakes. Forgiveness is a mirror. When it begins within, it reflects outward, creating ripples of grace and understanding in our relationships and communities. It teaches us patience, gentleness, and the courage to love fully without holding past errors as barriers. Letting go of shame and forgiving yourself is a journey, not a singular event. It requires patience, self-reflection, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths with honesty and compassion. It asks you to release the need for external validation and to trust in the intrinsic value of your being. Each day, each choice, each moment of self-compassion strengthens this practice, helping you to rewrite the narrative that has kept you bound. The more you embrace self-forgiveness, the more your life opens to possibility, the more your heart can heal, and the more your spirit can soar. Remember, you are not the sum of your past mistakes. You are a being capable of growth, transformation, and love. The act of forgiving yourself is a declaration that your story is not over, that your worth is unshakable, and that the future is yours to embrace with courage and grace. Release the shame that no longer serves you, embrace the lessons learned, and allow your heart to shine with the freedom that comes from self-forgiveness. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not define you. You are worthy of love, redemption, and the courage to step forward into the life you are meant to live. Strength is not born from ease or comfort. It is forged in the fires of adversity, molded by the weight of challenges, and deepened by the courage to rise each time we fall. Strength grows from resilience, not regret, and it is in the act of standing again after being knocked down that our true power emerges. Too often we measure our worth by the absence of struggle, believing that strength is the ability to avoid pain or failure. Yet the reality is quite the opposite. True strength is cultivated when we embrace our vulnerability, face our fears, and continue forward despite the wounds of the past. It is resilience that becomes the foundation upon which a meaningful, courageous, and authentic life is built. Regret can be heavy, a shadow that lingers over our hearts and clouds our vision. It whispers that we are less than, that our mistakes define us, and that we are bound to repeat the errors of yesterday. But resilience is the light that cuts through this shadow. It is the quiet insistence that we will not be defined by what has happened, that our worth is not measured by the failures we have endured, and that every moment presents an opportunity to rise. Strength born from resilience allows us to carry the lessons of the past without being shackled to them, to honor our experiences without letting them dictate our future, and to move forward with courage and determination. Resilience is not instantaneous. It is nurtured through experience, reflection, and the willingness to confront pain rather than avoid it. Each time we choose to face a fear, to learn from a mistake, or to stand in the aftermath of loss, we are cultivating a reservoir of strength within ourselves. This strength is quiet, often unseen by the world, yet it shapes the way we navigate life, the choices we make, and the love and compassion we extend to ourselves and others. When we recognize that our power lies not in perfection but in persistence, we open the door to a life that is rich in growth, understanding, and fulfillment. It is important to remember that resilience does not mean going it alone. Strength grows when we allow ourselves to receive support, to lean on others when needed, and to share the burdens that life places upon us. Seeking help is not weakness, it is a testament to our humanity and our capacity to engage fully with the journey of life. True resilience embraces connection, empathy, and community, understanding that while we are each responsible for our own growth, we are strengthened by the love, guidance, and encouragement of others along the way. The beauty of resilience is that it transforms adversity into opportunity. Every challenge we face carries with it a lesson, a chance to refine our character, and an opportunity to deepen our understanding of ourselves. When we approach life with this perspective, even hardship becomes a teacher, and the scars we carry become symbols of our courage rather than reminders of failure. Strength grows not in the absence of difficulty, but in the conscious choice to persist, to rise, and to continue shaping a life of purpose, meaning, and integrity. Resilience also teaches us patience and compassion. It reminds us that growth is a process, that healing takes time, and that our journey is uniquely our own. In the moments when life feels overwhelming, when the weight of mistakes and circumstances presses upon us, resilience allows us to breathe, to center ourselves, and to continue forward with determination. It is the quiet force that whispers, "Keep going, you are stronger than you know, and your story is still unfolding." Ultimately, strength born from resilience is a testament to the human spirit. It is the proof that we are capable of rising above the challenges that life places before us, of transforming pain into wisdom, and of creating a future that is guided by courage rather than fear. It reminds us that regret does not define us, that mistakes are not the measure of our worth, and that every day offers a new opportunity to demonstrate the power of persistence. So embrace your resilience, honor the strength you have cultivated through challenges, and let it guide you toward a life of courage, authenticity, and purpose. Every obstacle faced, every fear confronted, and every step forward is a testament to the power that grows within you, a power that can never be taken away. Strength is not the absence of hardship, it is the triumph of the spirit that chooses to rise again and again. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the choice to move forward despite it, the decision to step into the unknown even when the past whispers that you should stay small, silent, or hidden. Your tomorrow is shaped by the courage you show today, and it is this courage that determines the trajectory of your life, far more than the mistakes or successes of yesterday. Every moment presents a choice to retreat into the shadows of what was, or to rise boldly into the light of what can be. Courage allows us to embrace possibility, to rewrite our story, and to step into the fullness of who we are meant to become. Many of us underestimate the power of small acts of courage. We imagine that bravery is grand, visible, and heroic, when in truth it often resides in the quiet decisions of everyday life. Speaking your truth when it feels risky, asking for help when pride tempts you to stay silent, letting go of what no longer serves your growth. These are acts of courage. They may seem minor in the moment, yet their impact reverberates through the story of your life. Each courageous step, no matter how small, builds momentum, fortifies your spirit, and opens the door to a future shaped by intention and strength rather than by fear and hesitation. Courage also requires vulnerability, the willingness to confront uncertainty and discomfort while trusting in your own strength. It asks us to acknowledge the pain of the past without allowing it to dictate the present or the future. When you choose courage, you are telling yourself and the world that your life is not determined by the chapters you have already written. You are declaring that the power to shape your story rests in your hands, and that fear will not have the final word. Every act of bravery is a declaration that you are bigger than your doubts, stronger than your regrets, and capable of stepping into the life you are meant to live. The past often tries to convince us that courage is out of reach, that the failures and hurts we have experienced disqualify us from dreaming or acting boldly. But the truth is that courage is available to all at any moment. It does not depend on perfection, wealth, or recognition. It depends on presence, awareness, and the decision to act despite uncertainty. By choosing courage today, you lay the foundation for a tomorrow where your story is guided by intention, authenticity, and the confidence that you can face whatever comes your way. Each choice made in bravery becomes a stepping stone, leading you closer to the life you envision, the person you aspire to be, and the story you wish to tell. Courage shapes more than our own lives. It has a ripple effect. When we act bravely, we inspire others to do the same. When we step forward despite fear, we show that growth and transformation are possible, even in the face of adversity. Every time you confront a challenge with courage, you contribute to a collective culture of hope, resilience, and possibility. You remind yourself and others that the past is not a sentence, that mistakes are lessons, and that strength grows not from avoiding difficulty, but from choosing to rise again and again. It is important to remember that courage is not always dramatic or visible. It is often quiet, persistent, and steady. It is the whisper that says, keep going, the hand that reaches out when you are uncertain, and the heart that trusts in its own capacity to endure. By cultivating this courage daily, you allow yourself to embrace opportunity, to heal from the past, and to write a future that reflects your truest values and deepest dreams. Each courageous choice compounds, creating a life marked by authenticity, resilience, and hope. So embrace courage as your companion. Let it guide your steps, shape your decisions, and illuminate the path ahead. The choices you make today, grounded in bravery and intention, will define the chapters of your tomorrow. Even when fear rises, when doubt clouds your mind, and when the past tries to hold sway, remember that courage is always within you, ready to transform hesitation into action, weakness into strength, and uncertainty into possibility. Your tomorrow is not written by the shadows of yesterday. It is written by the courage you summon today, and every step you take in bravery brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live. As we draw this journey to a close, remember that your story is not bound by the past, nor limited by mistakes, regrets, or fear. You carry within you the power to rewrite every chapter, to rise with resilience, to forgive yourself, and to move forward with courage. Each day offers a new page, a fresh opportunity to embrace your worth, claim your strength, and step boldly into the life you are meant to live. Trust in your journey, honor your growth, and never forget that you are the author of your own destiny. May you move forward with unwavering courage. May your heart remain open to love and possibility. And may every choice you make guide you toward the life of your dreams. Good luck on this remarkable journey, and thank you for allowing me to share these words with you today. Your story is waiting, and it is yours to create. my dear friends. When the world tries to hush your voice, when the winds blow too strong and shadows fall too long, I ask you to remember this one truth. You were never born to shrink. You were not made to fold yourself small enough to fit into the palms of others. You came into this world whole, wrapped in glory, stitched with strength, and crowned with the power of being. And though life may have carved rivers of doubt across your soul, still you rise, still you remain. There will be times when people call you by names that do not belong to you. They will call you weak, call you unworthy, call you too much or not enough. But do not let their voices become your mirror. Do not let their blindness become your reflection. For inside of you lives a fire older than fear and louder than shame, a fire that speaks even when your mouth cannot. That fire is your worth. You do not need permission to value yourself. You do not need applause to be proud. The applause may never come, the room may never stand, and still you walk with your spine straight and your gaze unshaken, because your worth is not up for vote. It does not shake with opinion. It does not move with gossip. It stands steady in your bones. It sings in your breath. It is etched in your laughter and found in your tears. There will be days you forget, days when the weight of the world wraps around your shoulders and presses you down low. You may wonder if you are seen, if you are needed, if you matter, but I tell you now, you do. You are more than the scars you carry, more than the silence you have swallowed, more than the love you never received. You are the story still being written. You are the light still learning to shine. You are not defined by your past mistakes, but by your power to rise above them. Every stumble you have taken, every wrong turn, every word spoken in pain or fear does not carry the weight of your entire being. Mistakes may leave a mark, but they are not the map of your identity. Too often, we carry the burden of shame like a second skin, convincing ourselves that what we did is who we are. But that is not the truth. The truth is that every soul has faltered, every heart has broken, every mind has wandered into places it wished it hadn't, and still, the human spirit holds the power to grow. Still, the soul breathes hope. There is a quiet courage in rising, in lifting your head after being bowed by regret, in choosing to forgive yourself for things you did not yet know, for choices you made in confusion or fear. You are not the sum of your failures. You are the story that came after them. You are the morning that came after the longest night. You are the healing that followed the hurt. And it is in this rising, again and again, that you reclaim what was always yours, your worth, your dignity, your place in the world. There will be voices that try to remind you of who you used to be. There may even be moments when your own mind whispers those old stories to you, but you have the power to rewrite the narrative. You have the strength to say, yes, I made mistakes, but I am not lost in them. I have learned, I have changed, I have grown. And in that growth, I have found something more powerful than perfection. I have found truth. I have found resilience. I have found the unshakable knowing that I am still enough. Mistakes are not the opposite of self-worth. They are the soil from which strength can grow. They are the shadows that make your light more visible. And when you rise above them, not by pretending they never happened, but by owning them and stepping forward with wisdom, you are doing something sacred. You are showing the world and yourself that your spirit is not fragile, that your heart, even when cracked, still beats with purpose. So hold your head high, even if the past still lingers in your memory. Let it remind you not of what went wrong, but of how far you have come. Reclaim your self-worth, not as someone untouched by failure, but as someone untouched by defeat. That is your power. That is your truth. That is your becoming. Your value is not measured by how others treat you, but by how you see yourself. People will look at you through the lens of their own fears, their own insecurities, their own expectations. They will praise you one day and forget your name the next. They may see you through their limited vision, never recognizing the vastness of your soul, but the weight of their gaze should never become the measure of your worth. Because what they see or fail to see is not your truth. It is only their reflection. There is something quiet and powerful about learning to see yourself clearly, not through the filters of judgment or comparison, but through the soft light of honesty and compassion. When you begin to look inward and recognize your own goodness, your resilience, your intention to love and grow, you begin to touch something that no one else can give or take away. You begin to stand on the ground that does not shake when people walk away, when voices grow silent, or when admiration fades. So many people spend their lives chasing validation like a shadow, always running, never catching. They change their words, their clothes, their dreams, just to fit into someone else's version of enough. But even when they are finally accepted, they still feel empty because the one voice that truly matters, their own, was never heard. You must understand that self-worth does not come from being chosen, approved, or applauded. It blooms in the quiet moments when you look at yourself and feel at peace, when you know you are enough without needing to be anything more. People will not always know how to love you. Some will misunderstand your silence, your strength, your softness. Some will see your light and turn away because it reminds them of their own darkness. That is not your burden to carry. You were not made to fit into broken frames. You were made to build your own. And in that frame, your reflection must speak kindness. Your heart must feel safe. Your worth must not be up for negotiation. Every time you choose to honor yourself, you take back what was never theirs to define. Every time you speak up, walk away, stay true, or simply rest without guilt, you reclaim a piece of your wholeness. And in doing so, you teach the world how to treat you by showing them how you treat yourself. Let your self-worth come from within. Let it live in your breath, your choices, your silence, your joy. Because the most powerful thing you can do in a world that tries to tell you who you are is to look in the mirror, see your own eyes, and say, "This is enough. I am enough." Silence the inner critic and awaken the voice that believes in your greatness. There is a voice inside that knows your strength, that remembers your beauty, that whispers of the power you hold. But far too often, that voice is drowned beneath the noise of doubt. The inner critic speaks loudly. It questions your worth, picks apart your choices, and reminds you of your failures like they are permanent. It can become so familiar that you mistake it for truth, but it is not truth. It is fear dressed as logic. It is past pain dressed as protection. You must learn to recognize that voice and gently tell it to rest. It is not your guide. It is not your friend. It is only the echo of a world that taught you to be small, to doubt yourself, to second-guess your worth. And when that voice grows louder, you must reach even deeper and find the quiet strength that waits for you. The voice that says you have already come so far, that you have survived, healed, grown, even when no one saw you, that you are worthy, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. We live in a world that often rewards self-doubt, calling it humility. But there is nothing noble in tearing yourself down. There is nothing wise in silencing your own truth just to be accepted. Real humility is rooted in strength. It does not whisper lies to your soul. It does not hide your gifts. It does not dim your light to make others comfortable. You are allowed to believe in yourself. You are allowed to know you matter. You are allowed to trust your journey even when others cannot see your path. Awakening the voice that believes in your greatness does not mean shouting over others. It means standing in quiet confidence. It means waking up each morning and choosing not to apologize for who you are. It means honoring your growth even when it is messy and celebrating your progress even when it is slow. You must be your own encourager, your own reminder, your own affirmation, because waiting for someone else to speak life into you can leave you empty for years. Reclaiming your self-worth is not a single act. It is a daily return to your truth. It is catching that harsh thought before it grows and choosing a gentler one. It is letting go of shame and holding on to hope. It is saying to yourself, I am not what they said I was. I am not what I feared I was. I am something more, something enduring, something worthy. And in that moment, when you choose to believe in your greatness, you begin to rise. You begin to return. You begin to reclaim. Reclaiming your worth begins the moment you stop apologizing for your existence. There is a heaviness that builds inside when you constantly feel the need to say sorry for simply being who you are. Sorry for speaking too loudly. Sorry for feeling too deeply. Sorry for dreaming too boldly. Sorry for taking up space. Over time, those apologies become chains, binding you to a smaller version of yourself. But your presence on this earth is not a mistake. You were not made to shrink. You were made to stand, to speak, to live without shrinking beneath the weight of someone else's comfort. There is something liberating about no longer seeking permission to be whole, to exist fully, to take up the room your soul was meant to fill. You do not owe anyone an apology for being sensitive, for needing rest, for having boundaries, or for choosing your peace. Your softness is not a weakness. Your voice is not a burden. Your identity, your journey, your healing, none of it requires permission or explanation. When you stop apologizing for who you are, you begin to discover the strength that was waiting quietly beneath the surface all along. You begin to realize that self-worth is not something someone hands to you. It is something you uncover by peeling back every apology you were never meant to carry. Every moment you belittled your joy, dimmed your light, or silenced your truth just to be accepted. But acceptance gained at the cost of authenticity is not love, it is performance. And your spirit was never meant to perform, it was made to live. Let the world adjust to your light instead of you adjusting to its shadows. Let them witness your becoming without watering it down. You are allowed to walk into every room as your whole self, not an edited version. The world will always have something to say, but their opinions are not the compass for your worth. You do not have to play small to be loved. You do not have to apologize for the power in your voice or the softness in your heart. The moment you stop apologizing is the moment you start reclaiming. You return to the center of who you are. You stand taller, breathe deeper, and speak clearer. You begin to hear the voice within that says, I am allowed to be here. I am allowed to feel, to dream, to rest, to rise. And in that space of self-acceptance, you find a kind of freedom no one can take, a peace that no one can shake, a truth that you never had to earn, only remember. Self-worth is not earned through perfection, but embraced through self-acceptance. For too long, we have been taught to believe that we must earn the right to love ourselves, that we must check every box, fix every flaw, carry every burden without complaint, and only then will we be worthy. But that is a lie carved deep into too many hearts. Perfection is a mirage. No matter how close you get, it keeps moving, always just out of reach. And chasing it will exhaust your soul, not because you are not enough, but because you were never meant to prove your worth in the first place. There is beauty in embracing the imperfect parts of yourself, the parts that are still learning, the parts that have stumbled, the parts that feel too much or not enough. They are not marks of failure, they are signs of your humanity. And when you begin to accept yourself as you are, not in spite of those parts, but including them, something powerful begins to shift. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission to be whole. You stop postponing your peace until you feel flawless. You begin to live as though you are already enough, because you are. The world will always try to sell you something to fill the emptiness that self-rejection creates. More achievements, more approval, more beauty, more noise. But what you truly need is not outside of you. It is the quiet knowing that you are allowed to rest in who you are even as you grow, that you can hold grace for your past, compassion for your present, and hope for your future all at once. True self-worth does not bloom in perfection. It blooms in honesty, in being real with yourself and saying, yes, I am still healing. Yes, I still have fears, but I am still worthy of love, still worthy of joy, still worthy of belonging. When you stop measuring yourself against impossible standards, you create space to be gentle, to be soft, to be kind with the parts of you that need care the most. Perfection teaches you to perform. Self-acceptance teaches you to breathe. And in that breath, you come home to yourself. You stop performing for love and start receiving it. You stop punishing yourself and start nurturing the person you are becoming. You understand that your worth is not in what you do, but in who you are. And who you are is already whole. So let go of the chase, let go of the harshness, let go of the story that says you have to be flawless to be enough. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real, and real is always worthy. You were never broken, only buried beneath the noise of doubt and fear. Somewhere along the way, life may have convinced you that you were damaged, that you were less than, that something inside you had shattered beyond repair. But the truth is, the essence of who you are, that quiet, steady center, was never destroyed. It only became quiet. Because it only grew tired under the weight of unkind words, unmet expectations, and the constant pressure to be something more, something else, something other than yourself. You are not broken, you are whole. Even if you feel cracked open, even if your heart has been bruised, even if you've lost your way more than once, wholeness is not about being untouched. It's about still standing, still loving, still hoping. Even when the winds have tried to bend you out of shape, there is strength in your softness, in your survival, in your breath. There is power in the fact that you are still here, still trying, still rising, even when no one applauds it. Fear and doubt can grow loud, especially when you've been told, directly or silently, that your worth depends on how perfectly you perform, how easily you please, how much you can carry without complaint. But beneath that noise, there has always been something greater. The voice of your spirit that never stopped believing in you, the part of you that kept moving, even when you were afraid. The part of you that whispered, try again, when the world said, give up. When you began to peel back the layers that were never truly yours, the guilt, the shame, the comparisons, you begin to see yourself clearly again, not as someone broken, but as someone brave, not as someone unworthy, but as someone rising. There is a quiet beauty in that realization, a grace that returns to your eyes. A calm that settles in your chest, because you start to understand that reclaiming your self-worth is not about becoming something new, but about remembering who you have always been. You are not here to prove you are fixable. You are here to know you were always whole. You were simply hidden under the dust of other people's projections, buried beneath years of self-doubt, forgotten for a moment in the rush to be everything for everyone. But now you return to yourself, and in that return you find peace, you find clarity, you find the truth that was never lost, only waiting for you to look inward past the noise and see your reflection as it truly is. Reclaim yourself not as someone broken trying to be healed, but as someone powerful remembering their truth. You were never broken, you were always becoming. And so as you stand at the edge of your own becoming, remember this. Your self-worth was never lost, only waiting for you to return. You do not need to earn it through perfection or prove it through performance. It lives in you, in your breath, in your being, in every quiet moment you choose to believe in yourself again. Let the world say what it will, let the past echo if it must, but let your truth speak louder. You are worthy not someday, not after you change, but now, just as you are. Rise without apology. Love yourself without condition. Walk forward with the courage to be seen, to be heard, and most importantly, to be yourself fully, freely, and without shame. This is your time to reclaim what was always yours. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for allowing these words to walk beside you. My dear brothers and sisters, lift your heads. Open your hearts, and let me tell you something true. There will be days when the weight of the world will press upon you, when the sun refuses to shine in your direction. You will hear voices inside and out, whispering doubt, sowing fear, feeding you words that have no business in your spirit. And if you are not careful, you might start believing them. You might think, I am not enough. You might say, I will never make it. You might feel I am unworthy of joy, of love, of success. But hear me now, you are not your thoughts. You are not the storm that passes through your mind. You are the sky that holds the storm and watches it go. My dear brothers and sisters, let me remind you of something powerful, something life-changing if you let it take root in your spirit. Your mind believes what you tell it. Speak power, not poison. There is a voice inside each of us, a voice that whispers, that chatters, that sometimes shouts. It speaks in the quiet moments before the sun rises. It lingers in the spaces between our laughter. It waits for us when the world grows still. This voice is shaped by the words we feed it, by the stories we repeat to ourselves. And if you are not careful, if you do not stand guard at the gate of your own mind, it will not always speak truth. It will echo the doubts of the past, the fears of the present, the insecurities planted long ago. You wake up in the morning, and before you even rise from your bed, the voice has begun its work. It reminds you of what you lack, of where you fell short, of why you should be afraid. It whispers, you are not good enough. It says, why even try? You always fail. It taunts, no one sees you, no one cares. And if you listen too long, if you let those words settle, they start to feel real. But listen to me now, you were never meant to live as a prisoner of your own thoughts. A thought is just a thought until you give it power. And what power it has depends on the words you choose. You have a choice, my dear. You can look in the mirror and say, I am weak. Or you can say, I am growing stronger every day. You can say, I never get anything right. Or you can say, I am learning and I am capable. You can say, I am invisible. Or you can say, I am seen, I am valued, I am worthy of love and respect. Speak life into yourself. Speak courage. Speak joy. Do not wait for the world to affirm you, to validate you, to tell you that you are enough. You must declare it before anyone else does. Because let me tell you something, the world will try to define you. It will try to put a name on you that does not belong. It will say you are too much, you are too little, you are not worthy. But the world does not get to decide who you are. The words you speak shape the road you walk. If you tell yourself you are defeated, you will walk as if the battle is already lost. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, you will carry yourself as if you do not belong. But if you tell yourself that you are strong, you will rise with the weight of 1,000 victories on your shoulders. If you tell yourself that you are enough, you will move through this world as someone who deserves to be here. You may say, but I have been speaking negativity for so long, how do I change? You change by choosing, moment by moment, to speak differently. When an old thought tries to creep in, you stop it in its tracks. You say, no, I do not accept that. You replace it with truth. You practice, you repeat, and slowly the voice inside you begins to shift. It begins to echo strength instead of fear. It begins to remind you of your power instead of your limits. You have everything you need inside you to change your story. And it starts with the words you tell yourself. So from this day forward, let every word be one of power. Let every thought be one of courage. Speak to yourself as if you are already the person you are becoming, because, my dear, you are. Now go on and walk in the truth of who you are. There comes a time when you must stop believing every thought that crosses your mind. A negative thought is not a prophecy. It is not the final word over your life. It is merely an invitation, a moment that asks you a question. What will you believe? You see, thoughts are like visitors. Some bring peace, some bring doubt, some lift you higher, while others pull you into the depths of fear and uncertainty. But just because a visitor knocks on your door does not mean you must let them in. Just because a thought appears does not mean you must claim it as truth. How many times have you told yourself, I will never make it? How often have you whispered, "I am not enough"? How many nights have you sat alone, replaying failures in your mind, convincing yourself that they defined you, and yet every single time you woke up the next morning, every single time life kept moving, every single time you had the chance to stand up again? What if, instead of surrendering to those negative thoughts, you challenge them? A thought may say, "You are not capable," but where is the proof? Look at all the things you have survived. Look at all the mountains you have climbed, all the battles you have fought, all the moments you thought would break you, but didn't. If you were not capable, you wouldn't be here now. A thought may say, "No one cares about you," but is that the truth or just a feeling? You have been loved. You have been seen. You have made an impact, even in ways you do not realize. The kindness you have shown, the smiles you have given, the burdens you have helped carry, those things matter. You matter. A thought may say your dreams are impossible, but impossible to whom? To someone who has already given up? Or to the part of you that still believes, still hopes, still reaches for something greater? The world is full of people who did what others called impossible. Why shouldn't you be one of them? You must understand negative thoughts do not have the power to control you unless you give them permission. They are not the voice of truth. They are the echoes of past fears, old wounds, and misplaced doubts. And just because they speak does not mean you must listen. You have a choice always. You can take a thought and turn it into a prison, or you can take that same thought and turn it into a stepping stone. You can say, "I failed, so I should stop trying," or you can say, "I failed, which means I am learning, which means I am growing, which means I am closer than I was before." You can say, "I am not enough," or you can say, "I am becoming, I am unfolding, I am a work in progress," and that is enough. You can say, "I have too many weaknesses," or you can say, "My weaknesses are where I will grow the most. My struggles will become my strength." A thought is only as powerful as the weight you give it. So when those negative whispers try to creep in, stop and ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this leading me toward the person I want to become? If the answer is no, then let it go. Release it like a passing cloud in the sky. Replace it with something better, because the story of your life is still being written. And my dear, you hold the pen. Now go on and write a story worth believing in. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not the doubts that try to settle in your mind like an uninvited guest. You are what you rise from. Life has a way of knocking us down, testing our will, and whispering in our ears that maybe we should just stay where we've fallen. But you must understand, falling is not the same as failing. And even failing is not the same as being finished. You are more than any single moment of defeat. You are greater than any fear that has ever made your hands shake or your voice tremble. Think back to the moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, the times when the weight of life was too heavy, when the road was too long, when you were so tired you could hardly breathe. But here you are. You are still standing. You have scars, yes. You have memories that sting, yes. But you are here. And that is proof enough that you are stronger than anything that has tried to break you. A failure does not define you. A fear does not own you. A doubt does not write the story of your life. You write it. You decide how this chapter ends and how the next one begins. You decide whether you stay on the ground or rise with the strength that has always lived inside you. People will try to label you by your mistakes. They would try to tell you that your worst moments are the most important thing about you, but they are wrong. You are not your past. You are not your missteps. You are not the times you fell short. You are what you choose to become next. You are the lessons you learn. You are the wisdom you gain. You are the fire that refuses to go out no matter how many storms try to drown it. So when the voice of doubt whispers you are not good enough, answer back, I am growing every day. When fear tells you you will never be ready, stand up taller and say, I was born for this journey. When failure laughs in your face and says, stay down, you look it in the eye and say, watch me rise. Because, my dear, the truth is this: nothing that has happened to you has the power to break you unless you let it. You are not the darkness you have been through. You are the light that kept shining even in the midst of it. And no matter how many times you have stumbled, no matter how many times you have questioned yourself, no matter how many times you have felt lost, you are still worthy of everything good, everything bright, everything beautiful. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not your doubt. You are what you rise from. Now go on and rise. There will be days when the storm inside you rages, when the winds of doubt howl, when the rain of uncertainty pours down so hard you can barely see ahead. There will be moments when the thunder of your fears roars louder than your courage, when the lightning of your past mistakes flashes through your mind, making you believe that you are trapped in a never-ending storm. But hear me now. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. And no matter how fierce it may seem, storms always pass. You have been through darkness before. You have felt the weight of disappointment, the sting of rejection, the ache of self-doubt. You have watched as plans unraveled, as dreams slipped through your fingers, as hope dimmed under the pressure of life's hardships. But even then, even in your lowest moments, the storm did not last forever. Even when you thought it would break you, you were still there when the wind settled, when the clouds parted, when the sun began to shine again. Your thoughts can be like shifting weather. One moment they may be calm, clear, full of possibility. The next, a storm rolls in. Doubt, fear, regret, pain, all swirling together like a hurricane in your mind. But here is the truth. Just because a storm comes does not mean it will stay. And just because negative thoughts appear does not mean you must become them. A passing storm does not change the nature of the sky. The sky does not panic when the rain falls. The sky does not believe that a storm defines it. It simply holds the storm, knowing that soon the winds will calm, the rain will ease, and blue skies will return. And so, when your mind fills with negativity, do not despair. Do not believe that a bad moment is a bad life. Do not mistake temporary feelings for permanent truths. Instead, remind yourself, I am the sky, I am vast, I am steady. This storm will pass and I will remain. When fear rises like dark clouds overhead, breathe and let it pass. When anxiety crackles like thunder in your chest, hold steady and let it roll through. When doubt pours down like heavy rain, stand firm and know that you are still standing, still whole, still worthy. You have faced storms before and you have survived them all. Not one has defeated you, not one has taken your strength, not one has made you less than who you are. And if that is true, then why should this storm be any different? Why should this moment of doubt, this brief gust of fear, this passing thought of insecurity be the thing that holds you back? You are not weak because you feel fear. You are not broken because you have negative thoughts. You are not lost just because the clouds have covered your path for a little while. No, my dear, you are more than all of it. You are the sky, endless, vast, unshaken. So the next time a storm rises in your mind, do not run. Do not believe it is stronger than you. Stand in the knowledge that storms come and go, but you remain. You are still here, still breathing, still capable of moving forward. And when the clouds finally clear, and they will, you will see that you were never lost, never broken, never anything less than powerful. Now go on and hold your sky. There will come a time when darkness will whisper to you. It will come softly at first, slipping into your thoughts in the quiet moments when no one else is around. It will say, you are not enough. It will murmur, you are alone. It will plant seeds of doubt, water them with fear, and wait for you to believe in its lies. But hear me now. You have a voice too, and your voice is powerful. The mistake so many of us make is thinking we must accept every thought that enters our mind as if we are powerless against them, as if the whispers of fear must be treated as truth, but that is not so. You are not a slave to the doubts in your mind. You do not have to believe the voice that tells you that you are anything less than strong, less than capable, less than worthy. The mind is like a great house full of doors and windows open to the winds of the world. And sometimes those winds carry voices that are not your own, voices of past failures, voices of people who never saw your worth, voices that have no right to live in the sacred space of your heart. You do not have to let them in. You do not have to sit in the company of words that diminish you. Instead, you can answer back. When darkness whispers you are not good enough, stand firm and say, I am more than enough. When fear sneaks in and says you will never succeed, speak with certainty, I will rise no matter how many times I fall. When doubt tries to tell you no one cares about you, lift your head and declare, I am seen, I am valued, I am loved. You must talk back to your own mind. You must fight for yourself with the same passion you would fight for a loved one. If you would not allow someone to speak to your child, your sibling, your closest friend with cruelty, why would you allow that voice to speak to you? Why would you accept words that break instead of build? You were not made to live in shadows. You were not meant to shrink in the face of fear. Your voice is just as strong as the whispers that try to bring you down, stronger even. But you must use it. You must practice it. You must remind yourself over and over again, if necessary, that you are not here by accident. You are not walking this path without purpose. You are not breathing just to be silenced by fear. Some days it will be harder than others. Some days the voice of doubt will come louder, sharper, trying its best to make you forget your own strength. And on those days, you must speak even louder. You must say, I belong here. I am worthy. I will not let fear decide my future. And eventually, if you do this enough, if you refuse to let the darkness win, you will find that the whispers become weaker. You will find that the voice of doubt has less to say. You will find that your own voice, the voice of truth, the voice of courage, has become the loudest sound in your mind. Because you, my dear, are not meant to live at the mercy of negative thoughts. You are meant to rise above them, to answer back with the full force of your worth. Now go on and speak your truth. The words you speak to yourself shape the road you walk. Every thought, every sentence, every belief that settles in your mind becomes part of the foundation upon which you build your life. If you tell yourself you are not worthy, you will move through the world as if that were true. If you tell yourself you are incapable, you will hesitate at every opportunity. If you tell yourself that your dreams are too big, too impossible, too far beyond your reach, you will stop stretching for them before you even begin. But what if you chose different words? What if, instead of breaking yourself down, you built yourself up? What if you understood that rewriting your thoughts is rewriting your future? That every word you feed your mind has the power to either limit you or lift you higher. For too long, you may have told yourself stories that do not serve you. Maybe it started when you were younger, when someone told you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough. Maybe it came from a mistake you made, a failure that felt too big to recover from. Maybe it was society whispering its expectations, telling you to stay small, to stay quiet, to not ask for too much. And over time, you started to believe those words. You started to repeat them. You started to let them shape the way you see yourself, the way you move, the way you dream. But hear me now. You are allowed to rewrite the script. You are allowed to take every negative thought that has ever held you back and replace it with something better. When your mind says, I am not good enough, answer back, I am growing, I am learning, I am becoming. When fear says, I will never succeed, counter with, Success is built on perseverance, and I will not stop trying. When doubt tells you, I don't deserve happiness, I don't deserve love, I don't deserve success, reject those lies and say, I am worthy of every good thing life has to offer. This is not just about positive thinking. This is about reclaiming your power. This is about realizing that you do not have to accept the first thought that enters your mind as truth. You are in control. You are the author of your own story. And if the words you have been using are keeping you stuck, then it is time to write new ones. It will not happen overnight. Rewriting your thoughts takes time, patience, and practice. Some days the old words will try to creep back in, the old doubts will knock on your door. But the more you resist them, the weaker they will become. And the more you replace them with strength, confidence, and self-belief, the stronger you will feel. Imagine a future where you walk with certainty, where you trust yourself, where you no longer question whether you are enough, because you know deep in your soul that you are. That future is not far away. It begins the moment you choose different words. The moment you decide that the past does not define you. The moment you understand that you have always been more powerful than the thoughts that try to hold you back. So speak life into yourself. Speak courage. Speak truth. Let your words become the light that leads you forward. Now go on and rewrite your future. You have carried doubt for too long. You have walked with fear like an old companion. Listen to its whispers. Let it settle in your mind as if it belonged there. You have let negative thoughts shape the way you see yourself, the way you move through this world, the way you reach or don't reach for the life you truly want. But now it is time. It is time to release what does not serve you. It is time to lay down the weight you were never meant to carry. It is time to let go. Let go of the belief that you are not good enough. That thought has followed you for too many years, creeping in when you fail, when you fall short, when you compare yourself to others. But it is a lie. It is a story someone else may have written for you, but you do not have to keep reading it. You are enough, not because you are perfect, not because you never make mistakes, but because you are human, growing, learning, becoming, and that is more than enough. Let go of the mistakes you keep replaying in your mind. You cannot change them, no matter how many times you revisit them. You cannot undo the past, but you can decide how it shapes your future. Do not let a single moment of failure define your entire journey. You are not your mistakes. You are the lessons you have learned from them. You are the wisdom you have gained. You are the strength that has grown in their place. Let go of the fear that keeps you from moving forward. Fear will always try to hold you back, to keep you where it feels safe, to convince you that the risk is too great, that the unknown is too dangerous. But staying in the same place, trapped by fear, is far more dangerous than stepping into the unknown. Growth lives beyond your comfort zone. Strength is built in the moments when you move despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty. Trust yourself. You are capable of more than you know. Let go of the need for validation from others. You do not need permission to be who you are. You do not need approval to chase your dreams. You do not need the world to understand your journey for it to be meaningful. The only validation you need is your own. Believe in yourself first and the rest will follow. Let go of comparisons. Your path is yours alone. No one else has walked it. No one else has faced the battles you have fought. No one else carries your heart, your dreams, your struggles, your triumphs. You are not behind. You are not failing because someone else seems to be ahead. Your timing is your own, and you are exactly where you need to be. Let go of negative self-talk. You have spoken words over yourself that you would never say to someone you love. You have been your own harshest critic, your own greatest obstacle. But what if, instead of tearing yourself down, you chose to lift yourself up? What if you spoke to yourself with kindness, with encouragement? With the same love you offer to others, your words matter. Make them count. And finally, let go of the belief that you are stuck. You are never truly stuck. You are never without options. You may not see the path yet, but that does not mean it isn't there. Keep moving, keep believing, keep stepping forward, even if the steps are small, because every time you choose to rise, every time you choose to let go of the weight that holds you down, you free yourself. You make space for something new. And my dear, you were meant for more than the weight you have been carrying. You were meant for lightness, for peace, for joy, for freedom. Now go on and let it go. You have walked through the storm of doubt and fear, but you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. You have faced failure, but you are not your failures. You are what you rise from. You have carried the weight of negative thoughts, but you are not bound by them. You have the power to rewrite your story. Remember this, you are stronger than your fears, wiser than your mistakes, and far more capable than you have ever believed. You are not meant to live in the shadows of doubt. You are meant to rise, to stand tall, to step boldly into the life that is waiting for you. So let go of the past that no longer serves you. Speak to yourself with kindness. Challenge the thoughts that try to hold you back. And when fear knocks, do not shrink. Answer with courage. This journey is yours and you are more than ready for it. Walk forward with faith in yourself, with strength in your heart, and with the unwavering belief that you are worthy of every beautiful thing life has to offer. Good luck on your journey. May your thoughts be light, your steps be fearless, and your spirit be unshakable. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when the question must be asked, who am I and who am I becoming? Life is not a one-act play. It is a masterpiece of evolving chapters, each calling us to shed the old and embrace the new. Yet too often we stand still, tethered to yesterday's identity, afraid to take the steps that lead to transformation. But hear me when I say this. You are not bound by the expectations of others. You are not confined by the mistakes of your past. Life is a journey, not a destination. It is a river, ever-changing, carving its path through mountains, valleys, and plains, refusing to be confined by the barriers that stand in its way. Too often we treat our lives as though they are set in stone, as though the person we are today must be the person we are forever. But that is not the nature of life. Life calls us to evolve, to grow, to shed the layers of who we were and embrace the infinite possibilities of who we can become. From the moment we are born, we are creatures of transformation. A baby learns to crawl, then walk, then run, each step a testament to the power of reinvention. And yet, somewhere along the way, we forget this truth. We grow comfortable in our routines, trapped in roles we didn't choose, afraid to step beyond the boundaries of what we know. But hear me when I say this. You were not meant to remain static. You were meant to grow. Reinvention is the essence of life. Every sunrise brings a new opportunity to rewrite your story, to reimagine what is possible, to become the person you were destined to be. It is not a denial of who you were. It is an affirmation of your capacity to change. For life is not a single act. It is a series of chapters, and you are the author of every page. But reinvention is not passive. It requires action, intention, and courage. It demands that you confront the patterns that no longer serve you, the habits that keep you small, and the fears that whisper, stay where you are. It means asking hard questions. Who am I now? Who do I want to become? And what steps must I take to get there? The beauty of life's journey is that it is never too late to begin again. You may be standing in the ashes of yesterday, feeling lost, broken, or unsure of your path. But even in the darkest moments, there is a spark within you, a spark of resilience, of hope, of possibility. That spark is your reminder that you are not finished. That spark is your call to rise. To reinvent yourself is to embrace the unknown. It is to step into a new chapter without knowing where it will lead, but trusting that it will take you closer to your truth. It is to understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but a stepping stone on the path to greatness. Every setback, every misstep is a lesson, shaping you, refining you, preparing you for what lies ahead. Life's journey is not a straight path. It is filled with twists and turns, with moments of doubt and moments of triumph. But it is in those moments of reinvention, when you dare to let go of what no longer serves you, that you discover the depth of your strength. It is in those moments that you realize life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. And so I urge you to embrace the journey of transformation. Don't be afraid to let go of the old to make room for the new. Don't be afraid to dream bigger, to reach higher, to become more. For within you lies a wellspring of untapped potential waiting to be awakened. Life is calling you forward, urging you to step into your greatness. Answer that call. Reinvent yourself. And in doing so, inspire others to believe in their own power to transform. Too often we live as though we are bound by the expectations of others. From the moment we take our first breath, the world begins to define us, naming us, labeling us, shaping us into roles we never chose. The weight of these expectations can feel overwhelming, like chains that tether us to a version of ourselves we no longer recognize. But let me remind you of something powerful. You are not a prisoner to anyone's vision of you. It is tempting to conform, isn't it? To mold ourselves into what the world wants us to be, to meet the standards that society sets, to fulfill the dreams that others have imagined for us. We wear these roles like armor, thinking they will protect us from judgment or rejection. But instead, they stifle us. They keep us small. They prevent us from stepping into the fullness of who we are meant to be. Breaking free from these expectations is not easy. It requires courage. The kind of courage that says, I will not be defined by someone else's story. It demands honesty, the willingness to face yourself and admit that the life you are living may not be the life you want. And it takes strength, the inner resolve to stand firm in your truth, even when the world tries to pull you back. You see, the world often resists change. When you begin to break free from the mold, people may question you. They may doubt you. They may tell you that you're being selfish or reckless, or that you've forgotten where you came from. But here is the truth. Reinventing yourself is not a rejection of your past. It is an affirmation of your right to evolve. There is nothing wrong with outgrowing the person you once were. Growth is natural. It is necessary. A seed does not apologize for becoming a tree. A river does not hesitate as it carves a new path. And you should not feel guilty for wanting more, for wanting to redefine yourself, to explore new possibilities, to become someone who feels authentic and true. When you free yourself from the expectations of others, you open the door to discovery. You give yourself permission to dream without limits, to imagine a life that aligns with your values, your passions, your purpose. You begin to see that the only expectations that truly matter are the ones you set for yourself. This is not about rebellion for its own sake. It is not about tearing down every connection or dismissing every responsibility. It is about honoring the deepest parts of yourself, the parts that long to be seen, to be heard, to be celebrated. It is about recognizing that you have the right to choose your path, to write your story, to define what success means to you. There is a freedom that comes with stepping into your truth. It is the freedom to say no to what no longer serves you, and yes to what makes your spirit soar. It is the freedom to walk away from roles that confine you and toward opportunities that expand you. It is the freedom to live a life that feels like your own. And when you do this, something remarkable happens. You begin to inspire others. Your courage becomes a beacon for those who are still trapped by expectations, showing them that reinvention is possible. Your authenticity becomes a gift, reminding them that they too have the power to break free and become who they are meant to be. So I urge you, let go of the chains that hold you back. Release the need to fit into someone else's vision. Embrace the freedom to define yourself on your own terms, in your own time. The world will adjust, and those who truly matter will celebrate your growth. Reinvent yourself, and in doing so, reclaim the life that has always been waiting for you. Change is often met with fear, isn't it? The very thought of stepping into the unknown, of leaving behind what we know, can make us hesitate. But let me tell you something about courage. It is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. Courage is a quiet voice within that whispers, "You can do this," even when doubt is screaming louder. Reinvention requires courage because it demands that you confront the parts of yourself that you have hidden away. It asks you to step outside the comfort of familiarity and into the discomfort of growth, and that can feel terrifying. After all, what if you fail? What if the path you take leads to disappointment? What if the person you want to become is too far out of reach? These are the questions that keep so many people standing still. But the truth is, staying where you are comes at a price. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it is also a cage. It keeps you from stretching, from striving, from discovering the depths of your own potential. And if you listen closely, you'll hear a voice, a small but persistent voice, urging you to break free. That voice is courage. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it is a soft, steady presence that reminds you of what is possible. Courage is not about eliminating fear. It is about acknowledging it and choosing to act anyway. It is about trusting that even if you stumble, even if you fall, you have the strength to rise again. The journey of reinvention is not a straight line. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when the road ahead feels too steep, too uncertain. But courage is what allows you to take the first step and then the next, even when you can't see the entire path. Courage is what helps you to face the voices, both external and internal, that say, "You can't do this," and to reply, "Watch me." It takes courage to dream. It takes courage to believe that you are worthy of a new beginning. And it takes courage to let go of the old habits, old mindsets, old versions of yourself, to make room for the new. But every time you choose courage, you grow stronger. Every time you face your fear, you expand your capacity to handle whatever comes next. Courage is also contagious. When you dare to reinvent yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your bravery becomes a beacon, showing those around you that transformation is possible. Your willingness to take risks encourages others to confront their own fears and step into their own truth. And in this way, your courage doesn't just change your life. It creates a ripple effect that touches the lives of others. Remember this: the person you want to become is not out of reach. They are already within you, waiting for you to give them permission to emerge. All it takes is the courage to begin. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You just need to take the first step, trusting that the path will reveal itself as you go. And yes, you may stumble, you may even fall, but every stumble is a lesson. and every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger than before. Courage doesn't promise that the journey will be easy, but it does promise that it will be worth it. So dare to take that step. Dare to face your fear. Dare to believe in your power to change, to grow, to reinvent yourself. Because the life you want, the person you want to become, is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Reinvention is rarely a smooth journey. It is filled with trials, setbacks, and moments when you may question your strength to continue. But let me tell you this. Resilience is the foundation upon which transformation is built. Without resilience, the desire to change remains a fleeting dream, swept away at the first sign of difficulty. Resilience is what keeps you grounded, what keeps you moving, what reminds you that even when the road is hard, you are capable of overcoming it. Life will test you, that much is certain. It will throw challenges in your path, obstacles that seem insurmountable, and when you begin to reinvent yourself, the resistance may grow stronger. You may face doubts, criticism, and even rejection. But here is the truth. Every trial is an opportunity to grow. Every setback is a chance to build the strength you didn't know you had. Resilience doesn't mean you will never feel discouraged. It doesn't mean you will never stumble or doubt yourself. It means you find a way to rise each time you fall. It means you choose to keep going even when the odds seem stacked against you. Resilience is not just about enduring, it's about learning, adapting, and growing stronger through every experience. Think of the tree that bends in the storm. The winds howl, the rain pours, and yet it stands firm, its roots deep in the earth. It doesn't resist the storm, it moves with it, knowing that it will pass. And when the sun shines again, the tree stands taller, stronger, its roots even deeper than before. That is resilience, and that is what you must cultivate in yourself as you embark on the journey of reinvention. Let the manner of your flesh lead you ever closer, the plant of healing and regeneration. To reinvent yourself is to face uncertainty, to venture into the unknown. And yes, the unknown can be frightening, but resilience is what allows you to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. It is what helps you to see failure not as a sign to stop, but as a stepping stone on the road to success. It reminds you that every great transformation is born from persistence. But resilience is not just an internal force. It is something we build through connection. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who encourage you to keep going when you feel like giving up. Seek out those who remind you of your strength when you've forgotten it yourself. Resilience grows when we lean on others, when we allow ourselves to be supported, and when we draw inspiration from those who have walked similar paths. There will be times when the weight of change feels too heavy to bear. In those moments, remember this: you are stronger than you think. Every challenge you have faced in your life has prepared you for this moment. Every time you have fallen and risen again, you have proven your resilience. You carry within you the strength of all those experiences, and that strength will carry you forward. Resilience doesn't mean you have to face every challenge alone. It doesn't mean you have to be unshakable or fearless. It means you keep showing up, even when it's hard. It means you hold on to hope, even when the way forward seems unclear. It means you trust that every step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the person you want to become. So when the road gets tough, and it will, remember that resilience is your anchor. It is your power to rise, to adapt, to overcome. Every time you get back up, you are proving to yourself and the world that you are unstoppable. And in that persistence, in that refusal to give up, you are already transforming into the person you were always meant to be. One of the greatest barriers to reinvention is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change itself. Fear is a natural part of life. It whispers warnings and tries to keep us safe. But too often, fear oversteps its bounds. It doesn't just warn us, it traps us. It convinces us that the unknown is too risky, that we are better off staying where we are. But let me tell you this, fear is not meant to be a jailer. It is meant to be a guide, a signal that you are stepping into something new, something worthwhile. Fear and comfort go hand in hand. Comfort lulls us into believing that where we are is good enough, that the safety of familiarity is preferable to the uncertainty of growth. Comfort tells us, stay here, it's easier. But what it doesn't tell you is that comfort can also be a thief. It can steal your dreams, your ambitions, your potential. It keeps you from reaching higher, from exploring the edges of what is possible. Reinvention requires letting go of both fear and comfort. It means looking at the things you have clung to, the routines, the habits, the excuses, and recognizing that they no longer serve you. It means choosing to step into the discomfort of change, even when every instinct urges you to turn back. Because here's the truth. The life you want, the person you want to become, is not waiting for you in your comfort zone. They are waiting on the other side of fear. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring your fear. It means acknowledging it, understanding it, and then moving forward despite it. Fear can teach you about the things that matter most to you. It can show you where you feel vulnerable, where you need to grow. But it should never dictate your choices. When fear tries to hold you back, remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. And letting go of comfort doesn't mean abandoning everything you know. It means challenging yourself to grow beyond it. Growth is inherently uncomfortable. It stretches you, pushes you, demands more of you than you may think you can give, but it also rewards you with something far greater than comfort could ever offer, a sense of purpose, of fulfillment, of living a life that feels authentic and true. And the process of letting go is not easy. It requires self-awareness to recognize what is holding you back and self-discipline to release it. It may mean walking away from opportunities that no longer align with your goals, or relationships that no longer nurture your spirit. It may mean taking risks, stepping into the unknown, and trusting that the ground will appear beneath your feet. But as difficult as it is, letting go is also liberating. It frees you from the weight of fear, from the constraints of comfort, and opens the door to possibility. When you let go, you make room for new opportunities, new experiences, and new versions of yourself to emerge. You create space for growth, for reinvention, for transformation. And as you let go, you begin to realize that the things you feared losing were not as vital as you once believed. You discover that the strength you thought came from your comfort zone actually comes from within you. You learn that you are capable of more than you ever imagined, and that the only limits to your reinvention are the ones you place on yourself. So release the fear. Release the need to stay comfortable. Take the leap into the unknown, trusting that what awaits you is greater than anything you are leaving behind. You were not meant to stay small. You were not meant to settle. You were meant to grow, to expand, to become. Reinvent yourself, and in doing so, show others that they too can let go of fear and comfort to embrace the life they were meant to live. Reinvention is not an isolated act. It is not a one-time decision or a fleeting moment of courage. It is a lifelong commitment to growth, a continuous process of becoming. To truly reinvent yourself, you must embrace the idea that change is not something you do once and for all, it is something you live. It is a way of being, a mindset, a willingness to adapt and evolve with each new chapter of life. Life itself is dynamic, it shifts and flows, presenting us with opportunities, challenges, and transformations at every turn. To resist change is to resist life. But to embrace it, to lean into it, is to open yourself to the boundless potential that exists within you. Reinvention is not about perfection or achieving a final version of yourself. It is about progress, about continually striving to be better, to learn more, to grow deeper. But this journey requires intentionality. Reinvention does not happen by accident. It begins with a decision to take ownership of your life, to refuse to let circumstances dictate your story, to actively shape who you are and who you want to become. It is a commitment to yourself, a promise to honor your dreams and pursue them with purpose. And while the journey is deeply personal, it is also interconnected. The changes you make in yourself ripple outward, touching the lives of those around you. When you live with purpose, when you choose to grow, you inspire others to do the same. Your reinvention becomes a beacon, a source of hope and encouragement for those who are searching for their own path. Living a life of reinvention means being willing to let go of what no longer serves you, to embrace the new, and to trust in the process of change. It means being open to failure, knowing that every setback is a stepping stone to success. It means being patient with yourself, understanding that growth takes time and that the journey is just as important as the destination. This path also calls for reflection. To reinvent yourself, you must take the time to look inward, to understand who you are and what you value. What drives you? What inspires you? What kind of impact do you want to make in the world? These are not questions to answer once and set aside. They are questions to revisit again and again as you grow and evolve. And while reinvention is an ongoing process, it does not mean you are always starting from scratch. Each step you take builds on the one before it, creating a foundation of wisdom, experience, and resilience. Every challenge you face, every lesson you learn, becomes a part of who you are, equipping you to navigate the next phase of your journey with greater strength and clarity. This is the beauty of a life committed to reinvention. It is never too late to begin again. No matter where you are, no matter what you have been through, the opportunity to grow and change is always within your reach. You are not bound by your past. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are a work in progress, and each day is a chance to take another step toward the person you are meant to be. So embrace the process. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. And above all, stay committed to your growth. Remember that reinvention is not about reaching a fixed endpoint. It is about living a life of purpose, passion, and possibility. Reinvent yourself, not just once, but again and again, with every season, every challenge, and every opportunity. And in doing so, you will discover that the journey of becoming is the greatest adventure of all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. As we stand here today, let us embrace the undeniable truth that reinvention is not a destination, but a journey that calls us to dream, to rise above fear, to shed the weight of expectations, and to step boldly into the unknown. It is a path paved with courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief that within us lies the power to transform. Each of you has the strength to rewrite your story, to become more than you ever thought possible. The road ahead may be uncertain, and the challenges may feel great, but remember this: you are greater. You carry within you the light of potential, the spark of possibility, and the resilience to keep moving forward no matter what. So take the leap, Embrace your courage. Trust in your capacity to grow, to adapt, and to thrive. Reinvent yourself, not just for today, but for every tomorrow that lies ahead. And as you do, know that the world is waiting for your unique brilliance, your authentic voice, and your inspiring transformation. Good luck on your journey of reinvention. May it lead you to places beyond your wildest dreams. Thank you, and may your path be filled with purpose, growth, and endless possibilities.